Hey, are you still there? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? I love talking to myself. Woo! Ah, hello. Hello, Bug. Hi, Angela and Cam. How you doing? How you doing? Glad we're rolling now. I'm looking for yellow bacon. Really hope yellow bacon can make it. Yellow bacon's the reason we're here today. So, um, well, yeah. Oh, yeah, Susu Subaru. That's right, Cam. We need Susu Subaru. You remember? It's my buddy Greg. So, yeah. How was dinner? Was Santa Claus good to you? Excellent. Stitch. Holy cow, I just burped. Stitch Crocs? That's awesome. I see the little hearts and smiley faces go up, but then they don't stay. What's up with that? So, Stitch Crocs. Anything else? Oh, snap. Subaru is here. Copyright, you know. Live shredding, huh? Hardly shredding. Well, I'll tell you what, Susu Subaru and Cam, I did 12 minutes of the live stream, and somehow it was set to private, even though I set it to go live automatically at 6. So, yeah, pretty sweet. Pretty sweet, uh, talking to myself. Really rocking the man boobs. This is sweet. I should play like this. cover that up. Cam, earmuffs. Earmuffs. How loud is the guitar, by the way? I have it pretty quiet because I didn't want to blow anyone out. Oh boy. All right, this amp is stupidly loud. I'm going to turn it up just a smidge. Whoop, yep, there it is. Is that a touch more? Yikes. Wow, really? It's like a millimeter of change. Wowzers. Wow. Is that a little better? Man, that thing is touchy. This thing is a friggin' beast, but hard to crank. A little out of tune, I think. Ooh. This Evertune bridge is too loose. Look at that. The note doesn't change till I'm like an inch up. I'm not going to change that right now. That's going to be a problem when I record that solo for the new movie. Movie? New song. Hey, Tim's here. Yo, Rue of the View. Happy New Year, y'all. Happy New Year. Yeah. I hope you guys didn't pay money to have your face melted. So, yeah. Got like 5 minutes of playing in before jumping on. Pretty sweet. So, haven't played much in weeks with the little dude. So, nothing like showing your rust off to the internet and friends. So, nice. That's good. Bunch of snow moving in. Awesome. So I guess at this point, do you guys want to talk about video game movie adaptations? I feel like the only person that might give a darn is Rue with a View. So you tell me. We can jump into that. I think I screwed up Yellow Bacon. Yellow Bacon was the one who wanted me to live stream today and talk about movies and TV shows adapted from video games, which I'm happy to talk about, or just sit here awkwardly with my guitar in hand. It's my safety blanket, yet also a hindrance. How do you like Studio 2.0-ish? Super messy, sweet drape in the background. Yeah, there you go, Tim. So we've got Susu Subaru on here that rarely watches movies and doesn't really game anymore. Cam, I don't know how many movies you've watched, but I guess we can talk about it. Let's get into it. So without further ado, that's going to be my theme song. Play your favorite video game music. I don't know how to play guitar though. That's the problem. So, all right, let me pull up my little list of stuff I was going to talk about. How about that? We can start there. So, Happy New Year. Thanks for being here. Honestly, apologies for the long delay. having a baby and having Angela pregnant threw a few wrenches in the works for progress with YouTube stuff that is a little less important than the baby, to be honest. But I want to shout out Yellow Bacon again for this idea and for the live chat. So hopefully Yellow will get to check this out on the back end. But wanted to talk about adapting video games to movies and TV shows. So at this point, juncture will probably go to about 7. So we'll go for a half hour since I already started and talked to no one. I was going to talk about different video game movies and shows that I've seen, that I have not seen, that are rumored, that should and could be done, and those that probably should not be done. So, first things first, Mario. Have you heard of the video game Mario? Or I think I've listened to some podcasts, and I think in Britain? Is it the UK? Is it England now? I don't even know. They say Mario, I think. And we say Mario, whatever. Tomato, potato. So Mario, let's see. Mario intro. I'd have to figure it out on the fly. There it is. Oh my gosh. I'm not terrible at learning stuff on the fly. I used to be awful, but I'm so proud of myself. Oh my gosh. That was amazing. Anyway, Mario. Yeah, the most popular video game character of all time. And when they made the Super Mario, it's a me. Stereotypical. Mario, when they made that movie, the first one, is this camera angled weird? Am I angled weird? Is this how I sit? Anyway, Bob Hoskins, I think, and someone, but it was a train wreck, a live adaptation of the Super Mario Brothers, live action, and Goombas were real people with tiny, shriveled, weird Goomba heads, but totally nightmare fuel, totally worth looking into for a few minutes. So nice. Thanks, Cam. I guess that could have been transposed to a few different keys. I just picked one. But yeah, that movie was a disaster, and I only remember snippets of it. Just those Goombas were horrific, and I highly recommend you look up images of the Goombas. So you probably know they made a Super Mario animated movie, I guess in partnership with the guys who made Despicable Me. I finally got around to seeing that many months after it came out, and I wanted to love it, and I didn't. Sorry, Cam. Sorry, man. To me, it was like a long-winded 30-minute kind of intro into the story, but then it just felt like literally moving from level to level in different Mario game and iterations of Mario Kart. And I don't know, it felt too overly contrived or something to me for a full story. So I know, Cam, I know, I'm sorry. I'm one of the few. I also hate Frozen, and the entire world loves that movie. So yeah, fart sound to that. But I don't know, it looked great. It sounded pretty good. Jack Black as Bowser was a standout. King Koopa himself. Chris Pratt, I thought was fine as Mario. I think Charlie Day played Luigi. But yeah, and then Peach stole the show, and then it was girl power and Mario sucks and Peach is the best. I was like, wait, this is called Mario, right? Yeah. Yes, there it is. Thank you, Angela. Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there, Subaru. Oh my gosh, you're going to get your face melted. I will never let it go. That movie is so overrated. And they did a sequel, I think, which I never saw, unfortunately. So the Mario animated movie, let's be honest, that was way too late. I don't know what, they were just sitting on a gold mine. and they waited and they made a ton of gold. I think it made like $1 billion. $1 billion. And as you know, Nintendo's really hurting for money. So yeah, but it took them, I don't know, 30 years to pull that off. But it makes sense to me because Nintendo is so close to their IP that letting anyone else come in to make a movie out of it, I kind of get it. So, but for whatever reason, I can't split my screen. So I'm going to flip between here, see what I want to talk about. Yeah, one of the biggest games for me growing up was Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo and in the arcades first. I've talked about this in a previous live stream, but I went over to like my dad's friend's house, and the one guy had the Super Nintendo hooked up, and we were just playing Street Fighter 2 all night. That game still to this day is fantastic. It's not fantastic. The movie Street Fighter, 90s, I believe, probably based on this main actor, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Either way, Street Fighter, terrible, holy terrible Batman. And Jean-Claude didn't even have the cool, like, spiky yet flat top hair that Guile has in the game. So it's like wavy, spiked, but a flat top. It doesn't make sense. It kind of defies hairstyles and, gravity to an extent. But they blew that too. So that game, or that movie, I should say, total turdtacular. Coining that word. Oh my gosh, Street Fighter. Friggin' hate you. Thank you. I was trying to picture who that was. Raul Julia. Raul Julia. M. Bison. Frickin' M. Bison. Guy was a pain in the butt to fight every time. So you guys probably have heard of this game series. It's been around forever, since the original PlayStation. Tomb Raider. Yeah, Tomb Raider. So Lara Croft and all her polygon glory. They ended up adapting those to movies too, of course. And the hotness at the time for actresses was Angelina Jolie. So Angelina Jolie became Tomb Raider. Lara Croft. I'm trying to remember what they actually called the movie. If it was just Tomb Raider or Tomb Raider Lara Croft. Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I think they made a sequel too. It was like Circle of Life or Waste of Time, something like that. I think I saw the first one and it was unremarkable. Never saw the second one, but they have since released so many different games. They did a reboot, like the PS3 and the Xbox 360. Really good games, a whole trilogy. I played the first two anyway and part of the third. The reboot, Tomb Raider, and then Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then Shadow of the Tomb Raider. But those were excellent, and they made a reboot movie kind of too in that vein. I never saw it. Apparently it didn't make a big splash. If I get really bored one of these days, which I'm sure I will, with wife, baby, dog, guitar, music, YouTube, good movies, good video games, maybe I'll dive into that Tomb Raider turd of a movie. But E for effort, giving it a shot, but I doubt it's nearly as bad as the originals. So yeah, and Tim hasn't seen any of these so far. Yeah, good for you. You're younger than me and they're terrible. So, but everyone in this friggin' chat is younger than me. Yeah, that's sad. Why did I think about that? So how about this one? Tim may have heard of this series or game. Mortal Kombat. How about that? How about Mortal Kombat? So the Mortal Kombat games, of course, have been around Genesis, Super Nintendo forever. And the games are, gory, violent, ridiculous, over-the-top fun, and not suitable for youngsters. Sorry, Cam. But they adapted those to movies pretty quickly, too. I think they've had comic books, too, and maybe animated stuff. But if I recall, it's been a long time. The first Mortal Kombat movie was actually pretty decent. for the times, especially. They had the kind of color scheme, the grit, kind of the feel. And then I think I maybe saw the second one, Annihilation, I believe, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But to my knowledge on that one, I feel like just the colors got really bright and it just had a really weird look and feel that was kind of out of place for the content and compared to the first movie. And then rolling forward, decade or two or three, whatever, it came out that new Mortal Kombat movie where they introduced like a new character into the movie that was kind of entering the tournament and everything, that didn't exist. So, oh snap! Third one about Kung Lao. No, I don't know if that's a good. Have you seen it or a bad? But that could be interesting. But the new Mortal Kombat movie actually was pretty impressive, and some of the fatalities and stuff were super gruesome and on point. And as a movie, it was actually pretty entertaining and good. And I use that term good, just again, none of these are going to win any Academy Awards or anything, but very entertaining. I'm sure they're working on a sequel. Just some of the Sub-Zero freezing scenes and stuff like that were just really well done. And there was a Kung Lao hat scene that was very tasty. And toasty. That was more Scorpion, but yeah. So it's about as fun as the others. There's also the web series. Yes, there it is. Mortal Kombat Legacy. So I feel like it's weird adapting a fighting game to a movie, but where money is to be made, don't make movies, clearly. And with nice animated ones. And then, but with IP that's that popular, they're going to make movies and stuff out of it. And I have no idea how well it did in theaters, how much money Mortal Kombat's made, but I enjoyed it enough. And my brother-in-law is a big fan and of the games and the movies, so he enjoyed that, appreciated that. So let's see what we got next. I can hear my baby crying in the background, a floor and rooms away. Yeah. Okay, how about this one? I don't know, Tim, you may have heard of this one too. Resident Evil. Yeah. So I've talked about this in a previous live stream, but since Subaru's here, I figure I'll mention it again. We rented Resident Evil 2 for the original PlayStation way back when, and we were too scared to play it. So, and again, I made the same joke and comment before, but until very recently, I was too scared to really play the remake Resident Evil 2. But I did it. I did it, guys. At the ripe old age of 83, I faced my fears and got through the first few sections of Resident Evil 2, only to shelve the game, to never get to play it again because of time. If anything, I'll play RE4 remake more, though, because that's more my jam. But Resident Evil is, yeah, Angel's downstairs. Technically, I think she's right below me now that I think about it. Layouts of houses. Breaks my brain. I can't. Yeah! There it is. Sue. So the Resident Evil movies seem like a shoo-in again. So kind of like with the Mortal Kombat movie where they just introduced a new guy, with the movie, they're like, hey, we have all these characters and story and lore and everything nailed down. Why don't we could just, bring that into a movie? And they're like, like, no, let's bring in a new character, Alice, Mia Jovovich, Mia Jovovich. Anyway, we're going to call her MJ, not to be confused with Spider-Man. But yes, she was in that. The first one was kind of like more of a traditional horror kind of type movie. And, I soiled my pantaloons, I'm sure, the first few times I watched that. So, fortunately, I got some new pantaloons for Christmas, so that works out. But it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. You know, it was, you know, campy and fun and stupid, but it had the right vibe, and it was cool, and it was neat to see the game come to life, come to reanimate to life in that one. And then after that, you know, two through five, I feel like kind of like the games got progressively more action oriented, and they weren't, you know, they were more like thriller, not really scary horror type movies. But you know, seeing like the crazy creatures, the lickers, and you know, Wesker, of course, in other movies, was totally awesome. The movies aren't good on paper, um, but that's one series that Tim and I can agree is a lot of fun. And you know, two through five, I remember vividly seeing the fifth one in theaters. I believe my wife was with me, and Tim, and just all those helicopters, I think, showing up to start the movie, and just like a backwards played scene. But those movies are a lot of fun. Um, the second one, yeah, with Nemesis, and the third one, the desert and all the crows and everything, that was crazy. Um, yes, there it is, Tim. That's exactly right. They're not faithful at all, but they're fun. They're a lot of fun. And probably my favorite, I don't know, maybe because I've seen it the most, but Resident Evil 4 Afterlife is so much fun. Um, I saw that one in theaters too, especially when the big 3D craze was going on. Fortunately, I still have a 3D TV that can play it, since they kind of did away with that in favor of 4K or 8K, whatever they're going to do next. Um, but that movie is amazing. 4K, you know, they're fighting against Wesker later in the movie. He's got these, you know, sunglasses that make him, you know, too cool for school. And he just freaking grabs him and just whips him at the screen. And you see him spinning. And it was the dumbest and coolest thing ever. And there's another scene where MJ, Mia Jovovich, MJ loads her shotgun with these gold coins and just blasts them out of these enemies. You just see these coins flying, and is it cheesy? Yes. Is it amazing? Absolutely. So that movie's just a ton of fun, and the friggin' hellhounds, dogs that are zombified, just so good. The lickers, that whole series it's done right, because again, people are going to get cranky, and I get it, and I do too, that it's not accurate to the games, but they're just fun. And isn't that the point? You know, it just of the games and the movies, just like it's a good time. So I'm all about that. So let's see. What does your shirt say, Cam? Thanks for asking. It's one of my favorite shirts of all time. Um, you can probably tell. You can see we got Hulk and Cap and Thor and Iron Man, Spider Man. That's my dude Jesus, the one and only Jesus Christ. And he is saying to them, and that's how I save the world. And I love that on many, many, many levels. But since I'm such a fan of the superheroes, and then Jesus schooling them. So thank you for asking. Yeah, yeah, that coin shotgun is ridiculous. It is the best. Like, honestly, Subaru. Sorry, now I'm combining them. Subaru with a view. You should come up and watch 3D Resident Evil. It'll blow your mind. Blow your mind. So yeah, Resident Evil. Those are a lot of fun. To my knowledge, there was another movie that was done that apparently was kind of a turd, and then they did another series on some channel, and I guess that was a royal steamer. So I don't know, but oh, you know it. It's gonna be the full movie, so strap in. The demos, they never end. The demos are so good. I'll never hear the end of it. Super and some buddies came over, and I guess I felt compelled to show them the surround sound I have in the basement. I don't know if I was doing it for my own gratification or to impress them or something. I don't know, or just because I love it so much. But Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, there's a sandstorm, and you just hear sand whipping around, and just I should like flex when I do that, make my arm look bigger. Should probably work out again. But it just sounds awesome, totally awesome. So let's see, what do we got? Yes, and we're gonna go past 7. Hope that's okay with you guys. So, The Witcher. Henry Cavill is a beast. I love that dude. I thought he was awesome as Theseus in The Witcher. Man, I'm tired. He was awesome as Theseus in the movie Immortals. It was the first movie I ever saw with him. One of the bloodiest, goriest, craziest action movies I've ever seen. He's Theseus. Mickey Rourke plays Hyperion. The side stupid story of this is that my dad saw it in theaters, said it was awesome, and he's like, go see it, just don't take Angela. And so now, Angela heard that. She's like, well, now I got to see it. So we watched it, and it is so gory and violent, and she friggin' loved it. So, and then we got married. No, but Henry Cavill is awesome in that. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I don't think they're going to do it. I think it was just a tease, but Henry Cavill as Wolverine, I would be so on board for. I don't think they're going to do it, but that would be amazing. I know that Rue doesn't necessarily agree with me on that, but I think it'd be totally awesome as Wolverine. So he was in The Witcher, and that man just excels at roles and just throws himself into them wholeheartedly. And he is a self-proclaimed and verified gamer, big nerd, even though he's this, hunk dude and just shredded beyond all compare. Fun fact, my buddy Ben, who lives in California, in LA, in the Hollywood Hills, has actually seen Henry Cavill in a bar down the street from where he lives. And what really blew my mind, it was probably between movies, so keep that in mind, is that he said he wasn't that much bigger, than us average sized guys. When he's in the middle of a movie shoot, obviously he's pumping up between different takes, and I don't know, the suits give them more beef. But yeah, he ran into him, and that was pretty cool. But I really like Henry Cavill, and he seems like a cool dude. I don't know. All these British and Australian actors playing our, English speaking, American accent superheroes. It's fun. But he did a really, really good job in The Witcher. I really liked it a lot. And I talked to Angela about it. I was like, man, this dude could play Superman and Geralt from The Witcher and Wolverine potentially. Like, oh my gosh, what a resume. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I played Superman and Wolverine. Not bad. Not bad. So yeah, The Witcher I really liked. I mean, it's raunchy and over the top, violent, kind of like Game of Thrones and stuff, but I really like him, and the story was really cool. And one of these, I don't know, decades, I'll play Witcher 3, which is heralded as one of the best video games ever, and apparently they're working on a 4th. Shocker. Yeah, and Rue pointed that out. Apparently Henry Cavill actually, got into it and just was butting heads with the directors, creators, screenwriters of The Witcher, and left after 2 seasons, 3 seasons, because they weren't staying true to the source material. And I think that just speaks volumes. That's so awesome that he was that dedicated. Maybe he was too stingy about it. I don't know, but I think that's great. And then they're bringing in Liam Hemsworth, Thor's brother, from Hunger Games and crap. Like, I don't know how you just swap those out. I feel like you're like, you know what, The Witcher, let's do a side project. Oh, wait, they did Blood Origin or whatever. That was a thumbs down, by the way. I love that. But The Witcher is really cool. So, and that's super awesome. Thanks for pointing that out, Tim. I forgot about that. So, how about some stuff I've not seen, so I cannot comment too much? Doom, based on the first-person shooter from when Susu Subaru and I were like friggin' 10 or something with The Rock. And spoiler alert, The Rock's decent now at acting, pretty decent. Early on, hot garbage. Like the Scorpion King Mummy offshoot, atrocious. Like the worst acting I've ever seen, you know. But if you're gonna act in the wrestling ring, I guess you can act in front of a camera. But 8,000 movies later, he's pretty good. So, but the one saving grace for that, if I recall, there's a scene in it where they actually take like a first person shooter perspective. That's what this is, by the way. A first person shooter perspective, and you're just seeing down the barrel of the gun like you do in the game and just going through and shooting stuff. So that's pretty cool. They made an Angry Birds movie. I don't even know what to say about that. That game was everywhere and everything for a while. Actually, a lot of fun, but making a movie out of that, just kitty cash grab, right? Speaking of potential cash grab, there have been at least 2 Sonic movies made, which I'm not surprised that they did that. The Sonic movies, yet to this day, I have not watched those Sonic movies. I understand they're actually pretty decent, and I love Jim Carrey, so to see him as Dr. Robotnik sounds friggin' awesome. And friggin' Cyclops is in there, or Chris with 2 S's from 30 Rock as the main character. And the guy who voices Sonic is pretty funny in other shows. So, but if you haven't already, maybe you know what? I put it in one of my image polls actually a month or 2 ago. The original concept art or the original concept costume, whatever CGI for Sonic was hideous, like disgusting, so gross, creepy, nightmarish. Small eyes, just look like this weird, weird blue rodent, which hedgehogs, I guess, kind of are. But it was awful. It was awful. Like I've used Nightmare Fuel already, but that original design, you need to look it up, was so bad. I don't know if you're able to add it to the chat, but someone please find that original Sonic design for the movies and put it in there, because that was the worst. The worst. So, but anyway, so I didn't see the first or the second. I think there's a third, and now it's like Idris Elba or something. It's awesome. Love that dude as Shadow or Knuckles. I don't know. But I've heard those movies are pretty good. I'm going to have to break down, check them out at some point. That's a good one. Susu Subaru, Gran Turismo. I actually heard that was pretty good. Again, that seemed like a really weird choice for a movie, but it actually looked pretty decent. And since Sony's actually a movie producer, or a movie company as well, that has potential. But if you guys have seen Sonic, let me know in the comments, because I'm going to break down and see it eventually. But that makes sense to make that a movie to me. Everyone is crap their pants about allegedly how good the Last of Us TV show adaptation is. There's another, unpopular opinion, but I tried to play the first Last of Us twice, got like maybe a half hour, 45 minutes in both times, and I couldn't get into it. Yes, I could have given it more time, but with the backlog I have and the limited time I have, if a game doesn't grab me and I'm not into it right away, I have to walk away. I've heard it's great. Amazing, even the game, and apparently the show has been awesome too. It's got 2 people from Game of Thrones in it. And to be fair, I understand that Pedro Pascal is probably a good, I don't know, I assume he's a good actor. He's in a lot of stuff, but I'm kind of tired of seeing his face. He was in Game of Thrones. He was behind the mask in Mandalorian. He was in Gladiator 2, which I'll probably end up seeing, but it didn't need to be made, so I'm kind of unhappy about that. And then he's Mr. Fantastic and Fantastic Four, the new one, so they're just throwing money at him. That's a whole other can of worms to not get into, but I don't know. He's everywhere, and I'm kind of tired of his face, and I hate his mustache. So just sending on some hate. um, hey, oh my gosh, we got the broskies. What's up, Scott? Welcome. Oh man, they're dropping like flies. We had like 8 people at one point. People probably dipped in, saw my dumb face, and are like, nope. Boop. But yeah, yeah, given its lack of a story. Very true. Yeah, shave the stash, man. Like, what? Holy crap. Cam, Greg, Scott, Tim. Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Barry. Yeah, I can't, I don't know. The guy's just so overrated to me. I don't find him an amazing presence. I'm like, okay, great, but you're not leading man material. Then again, I don't think the new Fantastic Four looks amazing either, but that's a different story. So sorry, I just wanted to emphasize my receding hairline. Um, let's see what else. Oh, here's another banger, as the kids say. Halo, the TV show. I've not watched it, and I've heard it is just a turd on a piece of toast. Just so friggin' bad. Oh, you're right, Cam. Should I dip out? I'm not done ranting. You know what? I'm not done. We're going to keep going. If you guys are good, I'm going. I'm going to keep friggin' ranting. Hey. Okay. No stay or stay. So, yeah, the Halo show, I don't know. The Halo games, what do I have to say about those? Anyone that hasn't even played a game ever, I feel like, other than like my mom, would know of the Halo games. Just so revered. Heralded as some of the best video games ever. Well, I don't want to get Rue started. Pretty much after, Reach and ODST and stuff, they went downhill. But the Halo games, again, it's a shooter, but they do have a ton of story and lore there, and they could do some really cool stuff. But when they pull it off so poorly, I guess they're not pulling it off. When they botch it so poorly or botch it so well, either way, like it's a travesty and just a slap in the face to all the fans. Like if you're not going to do it right, don't friggin' do it. And yes, there's money in it, and that's great and all, but like you never see Master Chief's face. As far as I know, Rue could chip in on this one, ever. You don't see him ever. And then I think it's in the first, maybe second episode of the TV show, you see his friggin' face. What? What? Let's see. Have you seen the Tetris movie? No. Apple TV. I'm Team Android. I guess I could still have Apple TV. But no, is that the documentary of sorts? Or is it a movie based on how the game came to be? I think that's what that was. If I recall, I recognize some of the main actors in that too. That could be cool. I don't know. Have you seen it, Subaru? I may have to check it out. And wow, Sky, you got to meet Master Chief? That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, that guy's voice is legendary. Like him and Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid are just, incredible. Halo shows a prime example of what's wrong with adaptations. And it was on Prime, I think, too, right? Or was it? Yeah, Paramount. Most of them are made by people that want to do something else entirely, but can only get funding if they attach an established IP. Yeah. A documentary. Okay. Yeah. But that could still be cool. And Tetris to this day holds up. The game's brilliant. It is. It's so good. You can just jump in, jump out. Unlike games, like I said, like Last of Us, where you're like 45 minutes in, you're like, nope. That's cool. By the way, can you guys hear the hiss of the amp in the background? I apologize if so. I'm hoping it's not being picked up. What? Oh my gosh, dude. I need to hit more cons. Seriously. You ran to David Hayter as well? P.S. one of the greatest atrocities with voice actors was when they used, what was it, Kiefer Sutherland for Metal Gear Solid 5 instead of David Hayter. I'm a hater of Sutherland. No, terrible. That was the worst. Oh my gosh. David Hayter and Halo. That's incredible. So let's see. You ever listen to your own voice and you're like, no. So Halo, another one that came out recently, again, feel stupid saying this because I've never really played a Fallout game. I've heard they're really, really good too, especially 3 and 4, maybe. But they made a show out of Fallout, and I guess it's gotten large critical and, gamer acclaim. So well done on that. I don't know if I would watch it. The vibe isn't really my bag. But kudos to them for doing something right. So I had to at least mention one that's done something right, and that's new. Another one is Pokemon. I don't know if anyone's heard of that before. Pokemon is and has been and was everywhere, and Pokemon Go. Yeah, Pokemon. Friggin' everywhere. But they made that movie. They probably made a few at this point. I don't even know. But there was one like Pikachu Detective or Peekaboo something or other. And from what I understand, for fans, it was pretty good. So good on them. All right. The other one, Susu Subaru, will appreciate this. Probably Scott as well. I'll come back to that. Fallout show is pretty dope. Decent adaptation. They nailed the aesthetic, and that's really important. Yeah, that's awesome. Good for them. And that's like, if you're going to do it right. Otherwise, you're going to have a ton of pissed off nerds. And they have a lot of time to rant and type lots of pleasantries on the internet. This one, though, a little game called Twisted Metal. Again, a game that probably shouldn't be adapted to a show, which it was, with Anthony Mackie in the lead role, who is Falcon / Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or Captain Falcon, F-Zero. Yeah, Captain Falcon. So, but I think I may have watched the first part of the first episode and just dipped out really quick. And I'm not one to do that. But that show didn't need to exist. And I feel like there's so many other games that could be adapted to movies and shows. So just do that. Yeah. It's unfortunate. A Twisted Metal show. Like, next they're going to make a show about drinking water. Yeah. So let's see, what else do I have here? Okay. How about some rumored games coming to movies? Gears of War. I love those games. They're so much fun. Amazing co-op shooter action. And they do have a cool story too. And starring me as myself. Yes. Gears of War is so awesome, and I think they could pull that off. Just like a gritty, crazy, roided out, macho dude movie. But in this day and age, that, cultural shifts and stuff, it's probably toxic masculinity and all that stuff, but just beefed up boys shooting aliens would be a lot of fun. But the long rumored, yes, thank you. That's exactly right, Tim. It would be the greatest and brownest movie ever. Yes. The newer ones actually have gotten a lot more color, though, 4 and 5 especially. Oh, and Angela jumped the gun on me, but yeah, we're going to talk about that for sure. And yes, Tim, the long favored, crowd approved actor for Marcus Phoenix in Gears of War is Dave Bautista. And I know of late, I don't know if it was health things or just choice to lay off working out as much. He slimmed down a lot. Not to say he couldn't bring that back, but yeah, Drax from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he could definitely play Marcus. He's one of the few that I think could do that really well. They'd have to figure out Dom and stuff like that, but I could see that being really good. But that's a good question too, Angela, because I've been tempted to watch that. Let's see. God of War. No, don't. That's been in the works apparently. I guess they were working on it and then they bailed on it. I don't know, the director quit or the cast quit or both. Don't do it. So I feel like if you really wanted to do God of War, you could not do a TV show, at least for the original games, the Greek mythology games. I adore that series. That's one of my favorite of all time. And the spectacle, the scale, just the epicness. I hate the word epic anyway, but just the grandiosity, the craziness of that series would have to be on full display. And if they just went in cheap and just really low funded that thing and it just looked like butt, that would be a serious disaster and disappointment too. We're talking Greek gods and the god of, the sea and the god of, the underworld, lack of sleep, babies. But just that kind of spectacle requires a massive amount of special effects. And they're getting to the point they could probably do that in a show. But I feel like the first 3 games, and maybe like the prequels, PSP games, could be movies. And then maybe with God of War 2018, that's more drawn out Norse mythology and stuff, maybe make that and or Ragnarok into a longer series. Because I feel like there's more character development and stuff. And in the first games, it's just Kratos rage killing and then being betrayed and, revenge and just all out chaos. So I really don't think you'd have to explore his character over 24 episodes or whatever in a season. But I feel like if they biff that, I'm scared to even watch it, and I would not even consider watching it unless it was heavily vetted by the gaming community first. So yeah, God of War, I'm scared of them touching that. Let's see what you guys had to say here. What's an adaptation you really want besides Gears? Cool. I'm definitely getting to that too. You read my mind. Splinter Cell or Elder Scrolls? I don't know enough about Elder Scrolls to comment. It just seems so big and you can do so much. But if there is an underlying main theme story, I'd be all about it. And I love that, fantasy realm setting. Splinter Cell is ripe for a movie. That's actually one that I've heard is rumored, is on my list, actually. That's a good point, Scott. I guess when I say rumor, it could be any or all those things. I mean, it being by an actual production, just, the internet with all the rampant rumors are just like, it's thrown out there. They're making it. That's it. So I really wish I could say. I would love to say they're not. So, Poseidon and Hades. Well done, Cam. Yeah. Yeah. Fantasy movies. Have they adapted Lord of the Rings yet? I heard the Lord of the Rings on Amazon was kind of a turd too, sadly. But yeah, rights get claimed often. You're right. And the next one, it's funny, Scott, with you on here, you remember Phil and the band just like harping on playing God of War forever, and I was so resistant because I was like, it's a friggin' Devil May Cry knockoff. It's a Devil May Cry knockoff. And but I got into it, and now I freaking love that series. And Greek mythology is my jam, and just the sprawling, crazy spectacle, like I said, and story is just really cool. So yeah, it's just funny he got me into that and just would not shut up about it. Here's another one. One of my favorite games of all time, It was in my top 10. And actually, I think this was after I made the live streams. I actually made an official top 10 favorite games of all time list. I should go over that at some point. I kind of surprised myself a little bit. But Horizon Zero Dawn, that's another one. That game is full of, I mean, it's essentially, post-apocalyptic destruction, and then there's all these crazy robot dinosaurs that are attacking people. It's a very dumbed down way to describe it, but that's another one with, like, to nail the special effects and complexity of all these robots and stuff. They could probably do it in a TV show, but I don't know, to really fund it well, I feel like it would be a movie, and I don't know, it would be too much fluff, I feel like, with a TV show. I totally subscribe to the fact, no pun intended, and get that having TV shows really gives room to breathe and really establish characters and scenarios. And I'm all about that, and I think that makes a lot of sense. But for something like this giant open world game, I don't know, to keep it flowing well and being interesting and keeping the time of people watching it, their time in mind, and, not abusing it, I feel like a movie could work pretty well. And people don't seem to be scared of 2.5, 3-hour movies anymore. I get kind of tired, but I feel like they could do that. But that game, would be great. And I'm not sure I'm proud of the fact that I watched Game of Thrones, because that show is insane and abhorrent. Ooh, abhorrent. Someone write that down. But there was a redhead in the movie that Snow ends up meeting, that she's like a, I don't know, rebel wild child outside the gates person, and she could probably play Aloy. So my take on that. Let's see what we got. Oh, I did not. Yes. Yep, Scott, there it is. Farting on the microphone. Yep. Frickin' Phil. Phil, your order is ready? No. The Borderland movie. Thank you. The Borderland movies are shooters. Again, we keep going back. It's a first-person shooter with, I guess, some kind of loose story with Handsome Jack or something. But it's a looter shooter where you're going around shooting stuff and looting stuff. Hence the looter shooter. I don't know how that gets adapted into a movie, but apparently it was so abysmal that it just was shattered at the box office. Just trounced. Just went nowhere. And frankly, if it is that bad, like, I don't want to wish people ill will, but if you're going to put out that big of a turd, you get what you get. That's how I feel about that. Bard's Tale. Oh, man, I remember that game. That's awesome. Yeah, Borderlands, again, I don't get it. So let's see. Here are, sadly, 3 series in games. One we've touched upon already that I have not played that I think would do very well, that are rumored already in production. So I'll mention them and then I'll cover them. So Mass Effect, Assassin's Creed, and Splinter Cell. Mass Effect, I could see being a movie, maybe a series, but probably a movie. I've heard those games are incredible, and just with their sci-fi setting and just really intricate character development. That's why I kind of lean toward maybe a show for that one. Assassin's Creed, people give me crap to this day that I've not played an Assassin's Creed. I don't even think I've played like a level, a minute of a game, which is sad. But Assassin's Creed, with all the different characters and how they're woven through time and different locations, different characters, that could be really, really cool, I think, for seasons of shows that just follow the development of all these assassins over the ages. So that, to me, would be a missed opportunity if they made a movie out of it. and it seems like a shoe-in with all the advances they made in, uh, costumes and stuff like that to make them look authentic. So that would be pretty easy, I think. And then what was that other one I said? Um, Mass Effect, Assassin's Creed, Splinter Cell. Yeah. Did I say ooh ooh ooh? I don't think so. Um, Splinter Cell is another one like Metal Gear Solid that just a cool spy action thriller game with cool stories and a cool main character, Sam Fisher, I think. If I'm wrong, don't kill me. Um, the sweet night vision goggles, the whole shebang. That could lend itself well, and I feel like it could be easily done. The IP is well loved, and I mean, it just sounds cool. Just the name of the game in the movie, Splinter Cell, it just sounds slick. And I think somehow that would grab people, as weird as that sounds. Let's see. Okay. Should be done. Metal Gear. Yes. Make it happen. I saw a fan made Metal Gear kind of thing with like CGI real actors where like um, Oscar Isaac was Snake, was Solid Snake, and then Hugh Jackman, Wolverine fame. So Oscar Isaac of Poe and Star Wars and Apocalypse and X-Men Apocalypse, and then he was also Moon Knight in the Marvel series, and then Hugh Jackman Wolverine uh, was like Big Boss, and like it could have been really cool. The Metal Gear Solid games have really really cool stories that are super convoluted, twisted, characters and villains that are super numerous and awesome, and that really could and should be done. I'd probably say movies with that too. Just you can make several, but just keep it tight. Yeah. Um, I've not really played the Cyberpunk 2077 game much. I started a little bit of it, but that to me seems like it would bode well as a TV show. I really think they could do some cool stuff with that and just exploring the city, different shady operations, stuff like that. And just the look and feel of the cyberpunk stuff is super awesome. Um, Streets of Rage, really? Side-scrolling beat 'em up? I don't know much about the story, but I believe you. That's interesting. Huh. Um, so here's one. Since I'm a scaredy cat, I recently picked up, because I have no time to play them, the Dead Space remake. Dead Space is one of the only scary games I had ever played through, back when it came out in 2008 or whatever. The game was so friggin' amazing, and the gameplay was so just tight and crisp and just fun that despite the crap that I was going through diapers left and right, like it was so good. And now having the remaster, I haven't even gotten to start it yet, but I got it for cheap. But that movie or that game could be an insanely scary movie too. And yeah, it's got similar tropes, with Alien and stuff like that. But that movie could be super awesome, and I would probably not watch it because I'd be too scared. But Dead Space, I feel like that's kind of an obvious way to go. Even though I'd be terrified. Metroid is such an amazing series. It's been around since the 80s. I was debating if that could or should be done. I feel like since Samus doesn't say that much, she's really just in her own head and in the helmet and in the armor. I don't know if that would really translate well, but it could be decent. Or maybe Returnal, which to me is almost like a modern-ish Metroid roguelike game. Returnal could kind of be a neat movie too, and kind of trippy and dying and then respawn again and learn the story that way. Then two more. The Infamous series. The Infamous series, so friggin' good. I love those games. They were developed. I mean, they're superhero stories, but they're not based on a superhero. It's just this bomb goes off, and then this guy gets electricity-based powers, and then in the sequel gets ice and or fire powers. Then in Second Son, you get like concrete, smoke, and other stuff. But that could be really, really cool, especially since it's not attached to Marvel or DC, and just have like a gritty, cool. I don't know. I'm just thinking about this in real time. I don't know if it would work per se, but it could be kind of cool to split the movie almost, where the first half is he decided to do it the right way or the good option, and then the back half is he did it the wrong way, and just have almost two endings, or just maybe show the two paths and then at the very end show the outcomes of both. I don't know. But either way, I think those games could do really well as movies, and get someone to play Cole with, maybe get like he wouldn't be the right choice, but Will Arnett, he's like Lego Batman, like I can't think of what he would say. He's like, I'm Batman. He'd be like, I'm Cole. I kill stuff. Yeah. I crack myself out with my stupidity. Let's see. Someone bought the rights to a Metroid movie in the early 2000s, but they've since expired. And that's interesting how that works, how it just expires. But I guess that makes sense. You know, you have 5 years to do this, or it reverts back to Nintendo or whatever. A BioShock movie. Okay, BioShock is a shooter that could work, because that story in that game is awesome. That's a game I dodged for so long, not necessarily intentionally, but that one is super cool. That underwater shooter with the plasmids with different powers and the big daddies. Yeah. I don't know of a Legend of Zelda movie yet. Yeah. But I believe there is. There is. A dark comedy of Portal could be fun. That would be hilarious. I'm trying to think of just some crazy characters. Maybe like I don't know, Simon Pegg or someone like that from the zombie movies, Shaun of the Dead and whatnot. Just watching them struggle to be not destroyed by the evil computer. So that'd be really fun. But a Legend of Zelda movie too, that makes sense to me. That that is a movie in video game form, and I mean that in a glowing, flowery way. But that would be really cool. And then the last one I was thinking about, before I get some thoughts from you guys, is Eternal Darkness. I talked about this game when I did one of the video games over the ages or whatever. Yes, choose your own adventure. I like that, Angela. Eternal Darkness, that came out on the GameCube, in a sense, vanished into the ether, was so friggin' good. Psychological thriller, kind of survival horror. But again, it's one of those, it could be a TV series almost, where it's just, you play as, kind of in the vein of Assassin's Creed I mentioned, you play as so many different characters that are in this woman, in the present tense, Alex Roivas, her family in the past, through the ages and centuries. You're playing as those different characters, trying to stop evil, essentially, end of the world, through these different ages as different characters. And that can be really cool and drawn out. Plus, it could have the trippy psychological effects where, like you turn and then you turn around and you're missing an arm, like your head's cut off, weird stuff like that. They did some really neat stuff with that could lend itself well to a TV show or movie. P.S. I'm so glad I didn't try to record, like a Wolverine, short or something before this, because I'm already running out of steam with my voice. Dude, yes, Scott. I beat that. You probably beat it more than I did. I did it 4 times. So you got that mega ending where you did like the red, and it was like Chaturga, and Zelatoth was like green. Chaturga, Zelatoth. And then Mantarok or something was the purple. Yeah. But after you beat the game 3 times, you play it and beat it again, then you got a mega ending. But yeah, Eternal Darkness. Oh gosh, do you still own that game, Scott? I got to play it again. Yes, yes. As a mini series, every episode could be one chapter of the tome. I love it. Exactly. Like I think that would be so cool, and that's why it's probably never going to happen. Dude, let's steal that from you. Yeah. So, you know, these are some of my thoughts on this. You know, part of me wants to just say, stop the transfer, the adaptations. Just stop. I mean, obviously, books go to movies, movies go to books. You know, movies, tie-in movie, video games are often turd sandwiches. Part of me wants to just say, stop. Just stop adapting them. Leave them be. Stay in your lane. Maybe that's short-sighted, closed-minded, you know, because maybe it gets people into gaming, or it gives more credibility to gaming as a hobby. I've heard some of that, you know, parents will watch The Last of Us and really like the show, and then the kid's like, hey, that's based on the video game. They're like, oh my gosh, you're not wasting your life with video games. They're not just for children. You're like, hey, all right, good, terrific. I don't know. But if it gets more people into gaming, great. And if it's done well, like we've talked about, like Fallout, or any of the others I mentioned that actually turned out well, great, you know, and they can be their own thing. And, you know, if I don't want to see any movies based on video games, I don't have to watch them. Or I can be like everyone else and just complain about them because they exist, and I probably would too. So no shame on them, no shade on them, but they're going to keep making them, but just get the people that have the heart for it and love the content. I mean, we need more directors and producers and stuff like Henry Cavill, the actor, who are intimately familiar with the material and actually give a crap and want it to succeed and be what it can be for themselves and for the audience. But like, you know, they say, this is a weird side, but they say that musicians and artists and stuff start to lose their way when they're trying to make music for people or what they think the people, their fans, want to hear, instead of making the music they like or what they want to make. That's something I hope I can always stick to, because I want to make what I want to listen to. But if they're making it, you know, and it's a passion project, and yes, they're doing it to make money and for the investors, whatever, but make it good. Make it the way you want it to be, and then the masses will come, you know, and word of mouth. Like, put the work in. Don't just slap it in together and then expect people to stop everything they're doing to watch your crap. So we've already talked a little bit about stuff you think should be adapted. Portal would be a lot of fun. That I did not think about that at all. And then, I mean, should the trend continue? You know, that's an ongoing question. I don't know what you think, but let's see. Promo t-shirt. Oh my gosh, that's so good. The Guitar Hero movie. Yeah, it's called Rockstar with Marky Mark. Thank you for the timestamp, Cam. Little stickers. Yeah, love to get out of here soon. But anyway, I'm really glad you guys came on. I'm sorry I biffed that in the beginning. I don't know what the heck happened. I really hope that Yellow Bacon gets to see this. Again, shout out to you, Yellow Bacon, for pushing me to do this live stream. I've been several months delinquent on that. It's been a little crazy, but I need to get back into it because I have a lot of fun with these with you guys. I hope you like it too. And yeah, giving the topic today, which I think was a banger, adaptations. So, and then the last things here, I wanted to say that thank you again for being here. Happy New Year. I'm going to continue with the Monday shorts. If you haven't seen this week's, please go check it out. Give it a like, all that crap. And then the Wednesday image polls. I am currently still working on a song that's gotten, you know, pushed back and delayed. I'm working on the lead guitar parts right now. I'm like halfway through. The rhythm guitars are all done. The drums. Scott here, SCXCR, is doing the bass, and the backup vocals. Backup vocals. I'm gonna have to record some vocals and stuff too. Get that all put together, but hoping here in a few short months we'll get that uploaded because I'm really excited about it. Yeah, it's gonna be totally awesome. And Scott, thank you so much for working on that with me too. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for putting up with my bad guitar playing. And let's do this again soon. Deuces.